Hello and welcome to another edition of Ask a Zookeeper. This time we're turning to the question asking site Quora to see what internet people are asking about birds. Our first question, why do male birds have brighter colors? Wouldn't that make them a target to predators? That's a really good question because there are a lot of very bright birds and a lot of the bright birds are males. I'd like to point out that there are a few exceptions. So there's the Eclectus parrot, for example. This is a male Eclectus parrot with a bright green plumage and a bright orange beak. But this is the female Eclectus parrot, bright red feathers, beautiful purples. And the reason is that they have two different lifestyles from each other, so they have different plumage to reflect that. There's also birds that have seasonal plumage, like where the male is really bright during the breeding season only, but then in the off-season he turns a duller color similar to the female. And then there are lots of birds where the males and females look identical as far as we can tell. An example is the common crow. Here's a bunch of crows. There may be some males, maybe some females. I can't tell the difference, and you might be able to if you're a crow expert, but other than that, they look exactly the same. So, with all that said, there are some birds that have some big differences between males and females. This is a male silver pheasant, and you can see it's got bright white feathers on its back, it's got dark feathers on its belly, and then this is a female silver pheasant. So the same species, it still has that bright red eye patch, but then most of the feathers are good for camouflage and much more sensible for hiding from predators. This is a male great Argus pheasant, and you can see that its colors are still pretty good for camouflage, but it's about 50% of its body length is just these enormous wing feathers and tail feathers. The great Argus pheasant male uses those for display, so it'll kind of flip its wings upside down and make a cone out of its tail and wing feathers for the females to look at. This is a female of the same species. You can see that it's the same color scheme, but much fewer extraneous feathers off of the back. Then there's this bird, the male peacock. You can see it's got these enormous tail feathers and it uses those to make a courtship display. This is the female peacock, or the peahen. You can still see that she's got beautiful feathers, but they're much better for camouflage. So what do all these birds have in common? It's that the males are using their bright colors to impress females in some way, and that's the key, is that if there is a female preference for whatever reason, then males will tend to have those type of traits, and the traits can become more exaggerated over time. There is one other reason that males have bright colors. If a male has a bright red patch somewhere on its body, that can signal to the female that it is a really healthy bird. I've made a video about it, so if you want to know how that works, you can check out this link. One other thing that's implicit in the question is, if males are brightly colored to impress females, why aren't all birds equally brightly colored, males and females alike? But you asked in the question, wouldn't bright feathers make them a target to predators? And that's the reason that not all birds are brightly colored, is because the brighter a bird is, the more easy it is to see and the more likely it is to be attacked by a predator. So, good question. Quora doesn't actually tell you who asked the question, so thanks for the good question, random internet person. Thank you. Our next question from a random internet person is, why don't birds stick out their tongues and smell the air like snakes? This is not a bird question, but I happen to know the answer, and that is that snakes have an organ on the roof of their mouth, and they can stick out their tongue, collect scent molecules on their tongue, and then they pull their tongue back into their mouth and stick it up into this organ. It's called the Jacobson's organ. Here's the picture of an inside of a snake's mouth. This is a ball python, and a good candidate for where this Jacobson's organ would be are these two holes right here, but I don't actually know. So if you're a person who knows about the Jacobson's organ, can you please confirm to me where in the snake's mouth the Jacobson's organ actually is? Anyway, the tongue goes up into the Jacobson's organ, and it's like a second nose on the inside of their mouth, and then they can taste all the scent molecules that are collected on their tongue. So that is what's happening when a reptile sticks out its tongue. But the reason that birds don't stick out their tongues to smell the air is because they don't have that second nose on the roof of their mouth, so it wouldn't do them any good anyway, same as it doesn't with us. Our next random internet question is, if a human covered his or her body in feathers and made wings, would they be able to fly like a bird? Or are there more things they would need to do in order to accomplish flight? This is a really common dream in history, all the way from the story of Icarus, who flew on wings made out of feathers and wax. I also found a classic story from Africa where this winged warrior would fly over enemy forces and drop stones on them. So this has been worldwide a dream for as long as people have been writing down stories, and probably longer than that. The sad news is that birds are extremely well developed for flight, and they have lots of compromises built into their body in order to make that happen. So first off, birds have enormous pectoral muscles, the muscles right here on the chest. The wings are powered using those pectoral muscles, so the muscles themselves are huge. An example is on a broad-winged hawk. The pectoral muscles are 6% of its body mass, just huge. And then on a bird like a mourning dove, their pectoral muscles represent 16% of their total body mass. So these muscles are just enormous. On a 150-pound human, this is like having a 25-pound pectoral muscle, just very, very big muscles. On top of that, birds are very light for their body size. They have 8 air pockets inside of their body, so a lot of the bird is actually hollow. Their organs are reduced in size in order to save weight, and then their feathers make them look bigger total than they really are. Birds are compromising a lot in order to gain the ability to fly. So I'm sorry to report, a random internet question asker, that there's more to flying than just gluing feathers to yourself. Like Icarus here, you would not be able to fly just by gluing feathers to your body. As I was finding questions on Quora, I found a lot of questions like this. The question is, what 6-letter bird rhymes with balcon? And I tried to find a non-standard answer to this because it seems kind of obvious. So I would like to propose that trogon, this bird here, a South American bird, trogon is a very similar rhyme to balcon. You could probably make it work in a song, but the answer is probably falcon. Thanks for asking, random internet person. I hope that helps you with your crossword or whatever you were working on. A few weeks ago, I was out taking pictures of birds, and I took this picture of a mourning dove. I posted it to Instagram, so you can follow me there at BioBush if you would like to. But I got a question from a real person in the comments there. Shumway03 writes, how do the mourning doves make the whistling noise with their wings? I was doing some research, and some scientists in Australia studied the crested pigeon, this type of bird here. They noticed that these birds have a different shaped wing feather. As the birds take off, their feathers make a whistling sound automatically, just by flapping through the air, and that's what makes that whistling sound in crested pigeons. So this is pretty cool because the pigeons don't have to spend any extra effort producing an alarm call as they're escaping from a predator. Just the mere act of flying away and taking off from a predator will alert the other birds in their flock. So that seems like it's a pretty useful adaptation. Nobody has written anything about mourning doves and whether they also have these modified flight feathers, but I would say, just based on the fact that they make that whistling sound and they are related, they probably do have a similar adaptation. I didn't know anything about any of this before you asked, but thank you so much for the question, Shumway03, because that led to an interesting bit of research. If you have any questions that you would like to have answered about birds, don't just Google it, you can ask a zookeeper, and I'd be happy to help you find the answers to any questions that you have. Thanks for stopping by this week to learn what makes life awesome.